Hi guys, and welcome to hopefully first episode, because I decided to rebrand because I felt like I wasn't really authentic with what I put out. Even I feel like 2 episodes were really good made, but I still decided to get rid of everything and start over. So if you're new here and you're listening to this and you don't know what I'm talking about, basically I had some episodes out, but I decided to delete them and start over. Also, I felt like I wasn't really regular with that, and I didn't really post much, and I didn't really know what to talk about. And I must say that 17 is such an important year for me, and as I'm turning 18, it's like I finally realized what kind of person I am and what I want to put out there. And so now I will try to make as many episodes as I can. Also, I am working on a book, and whoever is listening to this and pushed me to do it, I thank you very much. And I will try to get it published by the end of the year, because I still have to add some chapters and also renovate it and make sure the grammar is okay, because I decided that this book will be in English, like this podcast is, so it can reach as many people as I can. And also maybe I will translate it in Slovak for my Slovak besties, and who knows, maybe one day it will be translated in many countries, but that's for a different topic. Anyway, today I want to read you my essay for this competition, and I don't know the results yet, but I'm one of the 13 finalists, which I cried. I genuinely sobbed when I found out, because out of 139 people, I'm one of the 13 best. That's amazing. And the fact these people liked it, because there's this very good Slovak poet and this amazing actress and many other people. So this really made me just so happy. So I want to read it to you, and I want to explain paragraph by paragraph what I meant by some things, because I understand some people are not so chronically online and you may not get some references. So I want to explain it to you and read it to you so you can close your eyes and rest and let me read it. So let's get into it. So it's called What Is Not Talked About But Should Be. Society is a puppet show. I will explain it later why I chose this name. We live in a very problematic world. It is dirty, disgusting, full of hideous people and even more hideous decisions. We could talk about X and Y things that are not discussed and not opened, rather thrown away in our children's bedroom in a box among teddy bears. If I started right now making a list of things that people don't want or even can talk about, within an hour there would be at least 200 things. Why don't sick people get better support from the state? Why is our state constantly in debt? Why do people not believe in global warming? Why is it so hard for people to recycle? Etc. We have smart people around us who often have smart answers, and we can be satisfied with that, at least for some time. But before we start solving the world issues and topics of astral travel and moving to the planet Mars, why not start with yourself? Building a house is a complex process that involves various stages and requires careful planning, coordination, and compliance with local building codes. It starts from selecting the land, after laying the first foundations, then to finishing the roof. Then, of course, the introduction of electricity, water, interior decoration, and approval. It should work this way in society as well. We start with ourselves, how we behave, what habits we have, and what needs to be changed. Then we start to perceive how society looks at us, and they start to have a lot of opinions. From the beginning, they see potential in us, such a new, clean, and shiny toy that can entertain the people around. Statistically, this condition lasts for 2 to 3 years, after which this quality of ours begins to wane. They say that a drowning man is grasping at straws, and this is exactly what is happening. We are taught to be praised by people, and we forget how difficult it was to build the foundations and work on ourselves for ourselves. Spotlights. The curtain is slowly falling. I'm standing there. I feel like I'm naked. But I should be grateful because they saw this potential in me, and it only happens to 1 in a million. And so I just stand and read the text already thought out in advance. I act like a nice girl should act. After my performance, I will meet even bigger lions who know very well that this is not me. I am just their puppet who will do everything she is told. And does it bother me at all? I like that people like me, and they, in turn, like them, they realize the idea that they have had in their heads all their lives. If they ask me how I feel about the political situation in the world, I just smile and say that I'm here to make the world a better place, and people want to hear the stories of a girl with broken heart and not how a girl feels about politics. They smile and they applaud, because that's exactly what they wanted to hear. Because a nice girl doesn't force her opinions on people. A nice girl smiles, waves, and says thank you. I became the person everyone wanted me to be. Now you're probably waiting for me to start talking about how women have it hard. Childbirth, home care, pay inequality, and much more. But these are not the topics I want to deal with, although I do not deny that it is not important, but it is talked about, even if badly, and there are many better ways to spread feminism. I promise that not all feminists are attention-seeking hysterics. In many cases, that is not even the reason. People simply want an answer, and so they create it themselves. I want to talk about why some women behave this way and why many times we're forced to say or not say things because society has taught us to do so. And why does society ignore this and wants to ignore this fact? From an early age, girls are taught to tolerate patriarchy and the behavior of boys towards them. When a boy makes fun of you, it definitely means he likes you. That little kid will believe it, and so she learns to ignore it. From teasing, it moves to physical assaults, such as pulling hair or pushing a chair away the moment a girl sits down. Adults just sneer and repeat the same song over and over. He's doing it because he likes you. The boys are sometimes reprimanded for it, but never enough to stop it. What about in adulthood? When someone touches her on the bus on the way to school, when she walks down the street at night and is called nasty names, when she just wants to have fun with her friends somewhere and returns home defiled? Is it even worth it fighting for her when she has been built up to this ideal all her life? If she confides in someone, will anyone believe her? She decided to tell her close person. That person tells her that it needs to be dealt with. Of course, it depends if she has any proof. If not, it's just her word against his. Who has more power? She didn't scream. She didn't say anything. She didn't try to run away. The court decided. And maybe when she has the evidence, or even the court decide that they believe her, she doesn't feel any sense of victory when she wins. Because the whole process is so dehumanizing. And so we are taught to accept things that we can achieve. When you're living off the approval of strangers, one bad thing can make it all fall apart. Because those pats on the head are why we are accepted. Women that I have known of had to reinvent themselves 20 times more than men. They had to struggle and work before society accepted them to be successful. Women's need to reinvent, and reinvent is not evidence of inequality. Rather, it's a celebration of their resilience, strength, and ability to grow. In a world that demands adaptability, reinvention becomes a powerful tool for women to shape their destinies, overcome societal expectations, and embrace the opportunities that change brings. By seeing reinvention as a positive force, women can navigate their journeys with confidence, authenticity, and a commitment to constant self-discovery. What if a woman makes one wrong step during this self-discovery? What if she says something the society doesn't like and so-called comes out of the crowd? When people decide she's evil and scheming and not a good person, there's no turning back because her whole life has been centered around that. Approvals from others about how she behaves and whether her life is going in a good direction. She felt like the castles were crumbling and she couldn't do anything about it. And so she's a snake. Dirt. Surely everything she achieved in her life was only through the bed. She had better stay at home, give birth to children, because this is her role and that is exactly what God created her for. They say women's hearts are deadly weapons. So when he held hers, felt he threatened? Even in my personal life, I've heard the sentence many times. I wouldn't want to have a woman who would be more successful than me. Of course, I asked why they felt that way, and the answer was that a man should be the one who should take care of the family, be successful in his career, and bring home money. Yeah, until he runs away from the family and the woman is on her own. No one will send her money from heaven, and so she is forced to be successful in her career, because now she is the one who has to take care of the family he left behind. What if there are men who don't want to be those alpha males, who also have their own dreams and plans that don't include being manly and strong? Even little boys have to constantly listen to sermons like, a decent guy doesn't cry, from an early age, or if you can't even lift the bench, then don't try to achieve anything because you're not very manly. They are also built on the ideal of society. Because there would be a possibility where women would never have to feel threatened, until men were also not threatened. Toxic masculinity is an attitude or set of social guidelines stereotypically associated with masculinity that often have a negative impact on men, women, and society in general. The term toxic masculinity does not mean that the idea of masculinity is inherently bad. Society has made it hideous. From a young age, it taught little boys to be the boss, the best, and the most perfect. Then it's hard to come back down to earth when you feel like a god. Because even a coin has two sides. Also, the 10 commandments of God were written on 2 tablets. Always an angel, but never God. Always a photographer, but never in a photograph. Always pretty, never the prettiest. Always a choice, never the option. Always good, but never great enough. Always a helper, but never the one who needs help. Always a poet, never a poem. What is not talked about but should be? It should be talked about nobody being good enough. Wise, nice, feminine or masculine. He will never be very talented, A woman will never be better than a man. A man will never be as strong as he could be, because no one can exceed the expectations set by society. We can try to be puppets and live our lives in a delusion, but it doesn't matter, because we can love strongly, but someone turns our love into poison. Suddenly, we are serpents who want to lure other innocent Eves into eating the forbidden fruit. Trust me, there are plenty of actors out there who live such miserable lives driven by society. But once the wax and the candle is gone, even their star will fade one day. Because people want newer and better. Nothing can be done about it. As you listen to this, whoever you are and whatever your story is, never try to be someone they want you to be. Try to be your own star. Maybe one day someone will see the light in you. Maybe one day you will be an inspiration to many lost souls who have lost their star. And maybe you will also help the society to leave the puppet theater and rather become guests in the theater where the actors will play for themselves, for guests, and for joy. What is not talked about but should be? About the fact that society is a puppet show. And maybe it's already being talked about, thanks to this text. Okay, so this is everything. This is the whole essay. I posted it on my Instagram in January. And I've got so many nice messages about it. I'm really glad people liked it. And if you're hearing this for the first time, you can check it out on my Instagram and read it if you didn't understand something. And yeah, right now we'll go paragraph by paragraph, so you can open it, the essay, and go with me. The first idea I had that it would be called I became the person everyone wanted me to be, which really is a topic, and it really describes what all of this is about. But then I was thinking about theater, and I want to be a director one day. So I was really thinking about society really is a puppet show. We have these big ass bosses who have so many opinions, and they create this world of imaginary people that have such a high expectation, and we can never live up to them. So I really was it is really like that. And I was thinking about it more and more and more and more, and I came to the conclusion that that would be a great topic to talk about. So first paragraph is about me describing about how world is disgusting, which it's not always, but most times. And people are not really nice these days, and whenever you are successful or whenever you achieve something, people never really are happy for you, and they are jealous and make mean comments about you. Also, I made their bedroom metaphor, which made me honestly sob and cry when I was thinking about it, because just a few days ago I was cleaning my room and found my old toys that are in a box as well. So I thought about my essay and what I wrote in there, and that it's like a grudge that you're holding sometimes, and you can never let it go. And whenever you open it and whenever you think about it, the pain comes back. And I never really let go of these toys either. So it really made me think about this. Also, I said there that we have smart people around who often have smart answers, but that was more like sarcastically, when I feel like dumb people raise their voices more than smart people, which is really sad. And we kind of learn to be satisfied with what they're saying. So that's why I wrote it this way, that at least for some time, until another smart person comes and makes another conclusion or says something, and then we move on, and it's just all so impossible to like keep up with. In the second paragraph, I am talking about building a house and how it is a complex process, and that society has a lot of opinions, which is true. Like, people may not even know you, and they are built up to these conclusions and opinions about you, and they're like, yeah, this person is bad because I heard from him and him that, I don't know, she's a slug or he is a man whore, whatever. And that is really not true most times. Like, most times it is really like, these people are the nicest human beings in their entire world existence, but just because they have this reputation that is not even really, like, people made it. People create reputations. Someone starts a rumor and it goes with you whole life. And there were so many times in my life when people misunderstood me and twisted my words, and that happens to so many people, and that makes me so mad, because if only people listened, if only we could like learn how to communicate and talk to each other and listen to each other, then the world would be such a better place. Also, I talk about how from the beginning we are such a new shiny toy. And you can see I reference Taylor Swift a lot in this, because she's such a big inspiration to me, and her story and her movie Miss Americana documentary, I rewatch it so many times, and I watched it, if I didn't watch it like 15 times, I'm lying. Like, it is such a comfort, and she explains everything so well, and she's so wise and has such a way with words that I feel like the fact that I started writing, it was mostly because of her, and because of how she's not afraid to say what she thinks. And in the last sentences, I'm talking about how we forget about how hard it was to build these foundations, and how hard we worked on ourselves, when in the end we decide to do what society tells us to do. In the third paragraph, I'm talking about spotlights and standing naked, and that usually happens when you put yourself out there, and people do what they want to do with you. So you feel like everything is revealed to them, and that they know you so well, but at the end they don't really know you, and they just have this idea of you that they actually made, and you are basically their puppet, and they do whatever they want to do with you, and you say what they want to hear, and you get praised by that, when in the end I just want to hear everyone's opinions. I want to hear how you feel. I want to hear what you have opinion on this and this. And I just really would love people to be more open and be more themselves, because I don't know, when I watch Hollywood, and when I watch our Slovak scene and see people not be themselves, it makes me upset, because I feel like most of these people could be really nice people, and talented people by themselves, and they could create such an art, but they are forced to just do what they're told. In the fourth paragraph, I started with how you expect me to talk about women only and how they have it hard, and they do. And also the sentence about not all feminists are attention-seeking hysterics. I hope you understood that. Nobody really is, but they just call us like that because we talk about problems and they don't see these problems. And as a feminist myself, I promise you that it is such a big deal because my mom is a single mother and she went through so much. For example, I can say my father was making some rumors about her that she's not taking care of me and she doesn't let him meet me when he was the one who left, and he didn't try to make any contact. Now it's too late, and everyone believed him and nobody believed her. And if they only asked me or her if that's true, I promise we would be really honest. But nobody actually wants to hear the truth. Nobody. And so everything was her fault. So that's why when I was writing this paragraph, I thought about her and through so many shit she had to go through as a single mother. And when I heard all these things that people are saying about her, it just makes me so mad because she's truly one of my best friends and I wouldn't be here without her. In the fifth paragraph, I'm talking about how girls have to tolerate everything from young age. And when I was really thinking about it, boys are just so allowed to make us upset. And basically it is our whole world to have attention from men. And I realized that when I was in kindergarten and I told someone that this boy pulled my hair or whatever, and they were like, oh, so he likes you, but why should love be scary? Why should love be a physical assault? Why can't we be nice to each other? Why can't we say nice words to each other but do such a things? I don't think love or even liking someone is about that, about making them upset. So we are taught to ignore it and to tolerate it. And at the end, I'm talking about sexual assault that happens to many women. And as I'm making a short movie, I have some plans at the end that I want to show statistics because nobody actually believes when people say that almost every second woman was assaulted, and I believe actually every woman was either harassed or assaulted in any way, which is scary when you think about it. Even catcalling is some kind of harassment, and we are whatever, but it actually is not whatever, because it always starts with words and it can end really badly. So not many people believe that. Not a single soul believes. And would anyone believe you when you would come to someone and be like, hey, this person assaulted me, and they're like, there's no way they did that? In the sixth paragraph, I'm talking about telling someone and how she doesn't have any evidence, so the court decides that they don't believe her, which happens a lot of times. And why so many women don't even share their story and don't even tell someone or go to the police station because they know that it will be such a hard process. And in the 7th paragraph, I'm talking about that even they believe her, don't feel any sense of victory, because it is all so dehumanizing, and you truly feel like a puppet, you truly feel like a toy, you truly feel like someone who doesn't deserve to be here. And I know some people who had to go through such a thing, and it's truly just so impossible and so upsetting. In the 8th paragraph, I'm talking about the approval of strangers and how we're learned to accept everything from them, and how these pats on the head basically describe us, and if we don't get that, we feel like we're not good enough. And from my personal experience, I don't think I would have posted that if I wasn't one of the 13 best. And actually, I just realized how it defines me, and how I'm really just like eaten up by the idea of being the best, and how really my life is just about the approval of others, and making sure that everything I do is liked. So I try to work on that. I try to work on the fact that I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to be liked. Even this text, if you don't like it, that's fine. Like, I should be okay with that, because we have a lot of different opinions, and not everyone is right, but it should really not define us as a people, and we should do what we really want to do. In the 9th paragraph, I'm talking about reinventation of women, and how they had to basically reinvent themselves to be interesting. Because when I watch, for example, a music industry, and when the woman just stands and sings, they call her boring. But if a man does that, it's fine. It's amazing. His voice is amazing. The way he plays guitar is just so mesmerizing. But when a woman does that, it's not. And they always have to make a big show out of it, which is so annoying. And even how hard it is to come out of crowd and raise your voice, because the moment you do, everyone is watching you, and everyone most times starts to hate you and say that, why would you say it out loud? Like, calm down. Like, it is really not that deep, but most times it is very deep. And how we are centered around the approval and about how she behaves, and whether her life is going into good direction. Like we're also like basically living a good life isn't really like, what is a good life? Like, if you're successful and you're not doing what you want to do, is it really a good life? Are you really living for yourself, or are you living for others? That's the question we need to think about. Like, we should do what we want to do, and we should, I don't know, if someone can't study good, why should they have good grades and do something when they, I don't know, want to own a coffee shop? And if they have good business skills, they can be so amazing, but people see them as lazy and as bad student. And there's just so many topics we can bring here and talk about. So yeah, in the 10th paragraph, I'm talking about woman being a snake, a dirt, a snitch, and that she should do what God created her for and not step out of crowd. And I also use "A Woman's Hearts Are Deadly Weapons." That is from a song by Maisie Peters, which I absolutely love, and she's one of my inspirations too. And it really is like that. Like, I really just realized, like, when woman puts her heart out there, it is really a deadly weapon, because nobody can fight that. Really, nobody. In the 11th paragraph, I'm talking about when woman is more successful than men, and I want to tell you a story that happened very recently. So basically, someone, I'm not gonna name them, they said how weird it is that our president is more successful than her man, and that they wouldn't want to have a successful woman who is like more successful than him. And it really just made me think that, wow, like, how can you even say that? Like, I'm sure our president's man doesn't think about it that way. And in fact, this is the reason why she chose him, that he can accept her greatness and how good she is without thinking about, oh, so she's better than me. That is so upsetting. So yeah, it actually happened, and that is the reason why I wrote it this way and why I put it there. So basically, everything I wrote is kind of a life experience or something I got inspired by, I guess. So yeah. In the 12th paragraph, I am talking about men wanting to be gentle too, and that they don't have to be manly, because it is really not about women only. Because in the 13th paragraph, I'm talking about how men are threatened, and if men wouldn't have to be threatened, then women wouldn't have to be threatened, and how toxic masculinity is actually a big deal, and how we not talk about it because it isn't a big deal, but it actually is, like, when you really think about it. And the idea of masculinity is not bad, but it really is so toxic. Like, all the little boys that are put up to insane expectations too. And I really wanted to show that this text is not really about women. It's about everyone being a puppet, and that everything, like every coin, has two sides. I'm even talking about in the 14th paragraph, always an angel, never a god. That is a song called Not Strong Enough by Boy Genius, which I adore, absolutely love it. And it was this trend on TikTok, like, always an angel, never a god, always pretty, never the prettiest. So I put it there. And also I said that 10 commandments of God were written on 2 tablets. Like, it really shows that, a first tablet is talking about love to God, and the second is talking about love to others, which is basically like 2 coins, like 2 sides, and everything has a 2 side. And always an angel but never God is basically never being good enough and never being the greatest, no matter how you try. And in the last paragraphs, I talk about it. I talk about how hard you try, and no matter how hard you work or you try to work, you will just never be good enough for society, and there always be someone newer or better, and that is just so impossible. That is seriously so fucking impossible, if I must say it this way. And I want to talk more about this, and I want people to realize that topping these standards is impossible. And ever since I started writing, I always thought about this topic, and I always wanted to raise my voice. And that's what I will try to do this year. I will try to raise my voice. I will try to talk about important topics and talk about that. Really, we should talk about this. Really, it's even it's named like what is not talked about but should be. And it really should be. Like, of course, there are important topics like war and global warming and so many people like being poor and not having healthcare, etc. But they also are created to live up to the expectations of others. So I really hope I explained it well, and I really hope you liked this. And I must be honest with you, I'm really proud of this work of mine, and I can't wait for more. I love writing more than anything, and I feel like I finally found myself, and I am in the position where I can share these things. So yeah, thank you for listening to me. If you read it, thank you for reading this. Thank you for everything, and I hope we can raise our voices together too. I hope we can continue talking about it and many different topics too. And to be honest, I don't know what the next episode will be about. I have prepared one about anxiety, or I can make like a personal episode and update you on some things. Also, I want to talk about grief, but I need some time to still process this and to have a straightforward line about what I really want to talk about. So I need to kind of heal first, and then I can talk about it and tell you how it really does not define me as a person, and that I can move forward. So yeah, thank you for listening again. I hope you have a wonderful day or night, and I'm looking forward for more. So yeah, bye.